What's going on, everybody? Welcome into another episode of HBCU Huddle. I'm CJ, joined alongside, as always, by Mike Wallace. Mike, what's going on, man?
Everything. I'm going to be a man short on words at the beginning of this show because we got so much to get to, man, and I can't wait to get to it. It's going to be a jam-packed. I say it every single week. It's going to be a jam-packed show, but I really mean it now. It's a jam-packed show.
Like you said, it's jam-packed. We caught up with Eddie George ahead of Tennessee State's big-time matchup against Notre Dame. We have an interview with Coach Raymond Woodie Jr. from SWAC Media Days ahead of their Bethune-Cookman's matchup, with the University of Memphis. We will recap MEAC SWAC Challenge. You were down there for that, so we'll talk about that. Slacking Jackson State put on South Carolina State, and we'll discuss Diddy's big-time donation during that contest as well. We'll give you our picks for the games this week. It's week one, Mike, so we've got a full slate of games to choose from. We'll give you our picks, plus we'll catch up with University of Arkansas Pine Bluff's athletic director, Chris Robinson. But, Mike, like you said, it's jam-packed. We need to be short on words. Let's go ahead and get things started. We caught up with Eddie George after Tennessee State's practice before their big-time trip up to South Bend. We talked to him about preparation for Notre Dame. We talked to him about potentially renewing the Jackson State rivalry and more. Check it out. Pleased to be joined right now by Coach Eddie George on HBCU Huddle. Coach George, how's everything going, man?
Everything is great. Broke camp, but getting ready for our first game against Notre Dame. Like the energy. Practice wasn't necessarily as clean as I like, but I think we're headed in the right direction.
I like the energy, too. I walked up and got to catch some practices. High energy, a lot of stuff happening, trying to simulate game speed, and part of that is going to South Bend. This is Tennessee State's first time going to South Bend. Is there any special preparations going on as you guys prepare for that trip up to Notre Dame?
Other than jumping on the bus with the intention to go win.
Okay.
You know, that's it. I mean, our guys understand, you know, what the opponent that we have to play. They're a formidable foe. You know, they're very physical up front. And that's the way we like it. We aspire to be that type of football team. In order to be the best, you got to play the best. And I think our guys are really excited about the challenge and the opportunity to play in a historic venue against a really good team, and we'll see where the chips fall.
This feels like almost an exchange of sorts, a cultural exchange, where you guys are going to go up to South Bend and show what HBCUs have to offer, and you're going to get a chance to see the cathedral, to see one of the great stadiums in college football.
I tell them, man, listen, this is a wonderful opportunity to play in a cathedral like this. Some of the great venues in the country. On a beautiful Saturday, you know, Touchdown Jesus, the Fighting Irish. You know, we have our band going up. So it's the first time that an FCS school and an HBCU school would have played against Notre Dame. So it's historic. You know, regardless of the outcome, this game is historic. It'll go down as one that's never happened, the first up, and hopefully we'll be on the winning side. But for the most part, you know, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for a lot of these young men to go and play and challenge them up on their home turf.
Once-in-a-lifetime cultural opportunity, also once-in-a-lifetime like payday as well. Got a big check from Notre Dame to go up there. How did that come about? Did you have any hands-on experience dealing with that?
Well, we talked about it, you know, the opportunity to go up and play them, understanding that, you know, we're trying to do things at a higher level here, you know, get things filled in from a resource perspective. Certainly that check helps us out tremendously, from resources, from nutrition to enhancing our facilities, enhancing our budget, so we can be competitive on a big-time basis, and that's just the business side of it. So there's a win-win there. But more importantly for us, it's the opportunity to compete against the quality of players in this quality team and give it our best shot.
Absolutely. Coach, we're in Memphis. Southern Heritage Classic is around the corner.
Yes.
I know you guys got Notre Dame, so I won't ask you to break down Pine Bluff just yet, but I will ask. People want to know, Jackson State, Tennessee State, one of the best rivalries in the HBCU sphere.
Yes.
Is there any talk about trying to renew that, do home and homes with that, or are you guys specifically interested in playing in strictly the Southern Heritage Classic when you play Jackson State?
No, I think we would love to rekindle that and renew that game, because it meant so much. I mean, listen, you know, from their perspective, from a business side, it was, wanted to make it fair and equitable for both parties and above board and transparent. So that's kind of where we left it at that. But we welcome that. I think it's great for both schools. It's great for college football. It's certainly great for HBCU football that these two schools, these two institutions get along each and every year. Bring that back. So I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully.
Coach George, thank you so
All
much
right,
for taking the time with us today. We appreciate it.
Thank you. All right.
Mike, that was Eddie George talking about Notre Dame, talking to some about Jackson State. When you look at this matchup between the Tennessee State Tigers and Notre Dame Fighting Irish, what is the most important thing that TSU can do against the Irish this weekend?
Get back on the bus healthy.
Okay.
Right. Get back on the bus coming back down to Nashville as healthy as possible, because you still have your entire slate of the season ahead of you. You come back from South Bend and you play a very important game against a new team, Arkansas Pine Bluff in the Southern Heritage Classic. And then after that, you get into your OVC Big South Conference schedule. And it's one of those deals where if you look at what Tennessee State needs to do this year, this has to be a breakthrough year. Eddie George don't come across as a guy who's panicked, who's stressed out. He has a great spirit about him. He's physically still in great shape. There's no pressure. He doesn't need this job. But it's time that Tennessee State has the kind of year that they expected when he came on board. And that won't happen in the Notre Dame game, unless there's a miracle of some sort. But you still have to be able to play the rest of your schedule. So they have to come back from that game healthy as possible and confident that they can go ahead and turn the rest of that season around. Get that $1 million check, because it is historic. No team, no HBCU has ever gotten $1 million to play a regular season game against a FCS opponent. This is a historic opportunity, both from a payday standpoint, from a, as you said, a cultural standpoint. Going up to South Bend, these players won't have a chance to play it in a place like that, or haven't in a lot of ways. And then they can grow from that as well, too, because this is going to be something one way or another that Tennessee State's players and coaching staff will be able to tell their grandkids about.
Coach Fromm brought this up last year or a couple years ago. I can't remember the exact year, about the payday for and the payouts for these bye games for HBCUs. And it's good to see that Tennessee State is able to get $1 million from FBS opponent. That opponent is Notre Dame. Bethune-Cookman's taking on an FBS opponent. They're taking on the University of Memphis. Let's hear what Coach Woodie had to say during SWAC Media Days right now. CJ Hurt joined alongside live from SWAC Media Days by Bethune-Cookman head coach Raymond Woodie Jr. Coach, how's everything been?
Outstanding.
This is your first SWAC Media Days. Any jitters, any nerves, or anything like that?
Nah, it's second nature.
Absolutely. Coach, you guys are coming up to Memphis to play the University of Memphis this coming football season. How did that game get set up, and what are you looking forward to about traveling to Memphis with this program?
Well, administration obviously did a great job of setting up our schedule and, coming right into the first week playing a caliber team like Memphis. The guys are excited, and I believe, to be the best, you got to play the best, and they're one of the top teams in their conference.
Absolutely. Charles Barkley recently donated $1 million to Bethune-Cookman. Your AD Theus called it a game changer. How will having the facility that money is going towards, how will that help you guys out and make your job a little bit easier and improve the playing experience over at Bethune-Cookman for the football team?
Well, anytime you get a monetary donation, or people come in and communicate with you their time and efforts to make the program better, I mean, that's going to be a good situation, for us. Obviously, it's going to help with recruiting, the kids' psychic, all of that. I mean, it's just a really good situation for us. We thank, Charles Barkley and AD Theus and the whole administration, for making that happen.
Absolutely. So, refresh my memory. Is it a practice facility? Is it an indoor practice facility? What exactly is the money going towards? Do you know offhand?
Well, basically, it's going to help, with our practice field. We got a synthetic turf practice field that's going to be on campus, and just going to be good for the school community and everyone, just to be able to ride by and see us, practicing on campus.
What you had a little bit of success at Bethune-Cookman as a player. I don't know if you remember way back in the day when you were two-time all-conference, two-time All-American. You remember that?
Yes, I remember. Yes, I remember.
So, what does it mean for you to be able to come back to a place, to a university where you had so much success as a player and have so much love for the folks down in Daytona Beach?
Well, it means a lot. BCU helped, made me, and I can truly say that. We had a lot of good times, more so good times than bad times. And my experience there was outstanding, just being able to achieve in the classroom, on the field, and outside the classroom. I'm excited. I mean, we're changing the narrative, and we're pushing forward.
How hard has it been to change the narrative? That had the whole saga with Ed Reed before you got there, and now you're trying to change it, get it back focused on the football field. But in order to do that, you have to take care of the things that there were some alarming things coming out of that report from not just what Ed Reed was saying, but players were saying, having to share equipment and things of that nature. Have you guys shifted that narrative, and have you handled all of the things, the major issues that were surrounding the program as far as equipment, mold, and locker room, and things of that nature?
Well, we have to go in with the plan. Anything you do, you go on with the plan, and obviously, I don't know what happened in the past. It doesn't matter. I mean, right now we're pushing forward, and things are bright.
Coach, you were on Willie Taggart's staff. You were a prominent member on Willie Taggart's staff. You were with him. You were with him for a while from Western Kentucky. You went from Western Kentucky with him, correct, to Oregon, to Florida State, to Florida Atlantic. What lessons were you able to take from Coach Taggart, and what was the experience like coaching under him?
Well, I tell you what, since 2010, Coach Taggart hired me, and I learned a lot. I mean, just doing it the right way, being a pro, and the big thing is, taking care of your players. You have to take care of your players, and that's one thing that he always did. He put his players first.
One last question before we let you go, Coach. You and Coach Hampton over at Mississippi Valley State, y'all were on the same coaching staff under Coach Willie Taggart. You got any funny stories, good stories about him? And you guys will be facing off this year on national TV as well.
Well, no, he's at Arkansas Pine Bluff.
I'm sorry, at Arkansas Pine Bluff. Forgive me.
Yes. Well, we won't play each other, but, obviously we're good friends, family. Both families, we're constant in communication, and I tell you what, I'm ecstatic to be able to see him as a head coach, and I know he feels that, because that was our goals, when we got into the business.
Absolutely. Coach, another one of those teams, another one of those games where it's FCS versus FBS, and the most important thing you can do, Mike, you brought it up when talking about Tennessee State and Notre Dame, is get back on the bus healthy. You still got the rest of the season ahead of you.
Oh, you definitely still have the rest of the season ahead of you. For a lot of Memphis fans who aren't familiar with Bethune-Cookman, I mean, now when you see that interview, you understand that this was the team that was mired in controversy. The whole Ed Reed saga played out over the offseason. Woodie is the coach that came in to help salvage the summer and going into fall camp. They're going to be overmatched. They're going to be outnumbered. They're going to be overmatched and outmanned going up against Memphis. So it's going to be important that they come, have a good showing, get healthy, get some confidence playing in a big-time stadium, playing up a level, and then get back to the SWAC and the rest of their schedule and try to fight through, because that's a team that's coming off of a couple of 3-8 type seasons. They need to get it turned around as well to be any factor in the SWAC East.
Absolutely, absolutely. I tell you what, we're going to try and take a break right now. Sorry, Kyra, threw you a curveball. But when we get back, we expect to have University of Arkansas Pine Bluff athletic director on with us from the studios ahead of the Southern Heritage Classic, and then we'll touch on more from the MEAC SWAC Challenge and give you our pick sixes as well. You're listening to HBCU Huddle right here on Grind City Media.
How can I lose when we the who's?
Game number 1 at FedEx Forum, the home opener, the New Orleans Pelicans.
They've put New Orleans in the last couple of seasons in some key matchups, put them on national TV. They're trying to develop that rivalry between these two teams that are so close together.
Hey, Grizzlies fans, be sure to tune in to Grizzbeat, where the panel and I break down all things Grizzlies and take a look at the rest of the NBA as well. The show is live every Wednesday, 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Yeah, hold up, park the Rolls truck. Why not pull up Lambo car and pop it with the doors up? This got colossal, I got models trying to pay me the tell her the price then went up. It's gonna cost more than a buck. Know that shit gonna be high, it got my name on this chronic. Driving slow now, but this car goes 0 to 60 if I punch it. She wake up and munch it.
This is the Supreme Nike Supreme Dunk High collab.
Right now, if you go on StockX, they are about $1,400, $1,500.
$1,500.
Okay, here's my next question. The first Grizzlies player to wear these in a walk-in.
Ooh.
Jake Loretta.
I don't hate that answer.
Yeah, I can see Jake.
The Sneak Fest Show, live Tuesdays at 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
My dad would take me out after on Saturdays when I was like 3 or 4. He'd take me out and then he'd give me an Orange Julius milkshake and I'd head home, and it was like the greatest thing on earth.
One of our locals, Rachel Heck, when I took my daughter out to play with her, she said, make sure you ask your dad to take you for ice cream after every time you play golf.
The Chris Vernon Show, presented by Caesars Sportsbook, live weekdays at noon on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app. Topic number 1, I think, was not so creative.
Okay.
And it is the new color of this eggplant retro foam.
Okay. I was going to bring the actual original in, and I forgot.
Well, we have a picture of the original, too. If we could go to that second. Okay. Okay. The Sneak Fest Show, live Tuesdays at 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Rob, we got a banger that you guys need to play. So I'm going to send this to you right here, and you just play it for the people. We are SEC.
It just means more.
We got all the Southeast with me.
Oh, yes, we do.
Tune in to the Jessica Benson Show with CJ Hurt, live every weekday at 8 a.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Can't be quick, can't be fast. Can't be fast. I be in a loop, she be in a group. Brody with her friends, don't have to lose. Cause I'm the next, bro, I'm living proof. How can I lose when we the who's?
Welcome back in, everybody. Welcome back in. We're still trying to get University of Arkansas Pine Bluff Athletic Director Chris Robinson on the show. But before we get to him, let's talk some more about the MEAC SWAC Challenge. Mike was down there from Atlanta covering Jackson State versus South Carolina State. Shot a great video. Let's take a look at it now.
Now that the MEAC SWAC Challenge is behind us, where do these two teams go from here? Jackson State heads into what may be the most important game of their regular season on September 3rd, next Sunday. They go down to Miami to play Florida A&M, and that game has decided the SWAC Conference Championship each of the last 2 seasons, with Jackson State beating Florida A&M in that game in Miami to go on to win the SWAC Championship and then over to the Celebration Bowl. Now, as far as South Carolina State, Buddy Pugh has announced before the MEAC SWAC Challenge that this will be his final season after 22 years at South Carolina State. The legendary championship coach is hanging it up. So this will be a symbolic run for South Carolina State as well, too. So plenty of big things to come for both Jackson State
and South Carolina State the rest of this season. All of their goals are still in front of them after they leave from Atlanta, and we'll see where it goes from here. So keep it locked on Grind City Media and the HBCU Huddle for all of your updates.
Mike, what was a big takeaway for you?
You know, we talked about that, and as I said in the piece right there, where these teams go from here. But what we got to look back on is that was a 37-7 beatdown that Jackson State delivered on South Carolina State. Buddy Pugh is in the last year. He announced that he was going to retire. That wasn't the way he wanted to start this magical campaign with so much energy. South Carolina State will be able to regroup. They tend to start slow and then get better as the season goes, but they got a huge uphill battle to climb moving forward from there. They just don't have the numbers or the depth. Jackson State looked every bit as good as they did last year during the regular season. I mean, you talk about T.C. Taylor getting a victory, a big-time victory in his first game in front of 25,000 of Jackson State's fans. The way they did that was huge. Jay Brown, quarterback, man, threw for 360 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks. He looks every bit as accurate as Shedeur Sanders looked the last 2 years running that offense. The defensive line is nice and tidy. And then the last biggest takeaway from that game, being in Atlanta, it was 110 degrees on the field down there.
Atlanta.
So give your boy some credit for being able to tough that one out down there. But Diddy came through on his promise. You know, about a year ago at the BET Awards, he said, I'm going to drop $1 million on Howard University, my alma mater, his alma mater, and then I'm going to go ahead and drop $1 million on Jackson State for their football program because we got to support our own. And you know what? Diddy showed up in the second quarter, showed the entire stadium some love, dropped that check, and here's why he did this in an amazing way for Jackson State University.
Here is Puff Daddy or Diddy, Sean P. Diddy Combs, dropping a mill on Jackson State at the MEAC SWAC Challenge.
This was at the end of the quarter, promising $1 million during last year's BET Awards, and he's making good on that as he's standing by with our Harry Lyles.
Diddy's actually paying me. I could use a little bit more of that. I appreciate it. But while we're doing that, hey, I got to ask you, what was the inspiration, the motivation behind the $1 million pledge and donation?
If it wasn't for HBCUs, I wouldn't be here. And really just supporting HBCUs is not just my honor, it's my responsibility. You know, my grandmother raised me to make sure I sowed my seed in my community, and that's what I'm going to continue to do. And so what they're doing at Jackson State is to be commended. What they're doing at Howard University is to be commended. All HBCUs that are under-resourced, and I'm here to do something about it.
That's wonderful. That's amazing. And we love to see donations like that go to any HBCU because that money stretches so far and goes to help out so much. Speaking of donations, we've got University of Arkansas Pine Bluff Athletic Director Chris Johnson on right now. A.D. Johnson, how's everything going?
It's A.D. Robinson. It's Robinson. Everything's going well. How are you guys doing?
Hey, Mr. Robinson, I do apologize. How are you? Everything good?
Everything's outstanding.
You guys received a rather substantial donation as well. Correct me if I am wrong. You guys got about $110,000 from Bill and Shari Jones, the CEO. Bill is the CEO of Sissy's Log Cabin. What's the plan for that money, and how's everything been going as it pertains to that donation?
You know, everything. And as you mentioned about, that's the only. You know, traditionally having the support structure without significant donations, we wouldn't survive. So Jones are supporter of our university and athletics. They've done our baseball, they've done some things with our golf team, happened the SWAC championship last year, and then also donated $1,000.
A.D. Robinson, I'm gonna stop you for a second. Your connection is going in and out on us. Is everything? Let's do a quick test and make sure everything's working well.
Yes, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, that sounds so much better. Go ahead, finish your statement.
Yeah, well, basically, Bill is things throughout athletics. They help with our golf team. We just help with our baseball team. Built the facility there, and now build a locker room for our team as well. Also, we've had other members within the community. County judge, obviously, to help with building.
AD Robinson, hold on for me real quick. Do you have like some headphones you can put in?
Yes, hold on 1 second.
All right, go ahead and put them in, and we really want to hear from AD Robinson about this donation because it was big, and I think he began to start to talk about the plan for the weight room for the football team, which is as of right now, my understanding of Pine Bluff's weight room is that it's just lockers, and there's not a whole lot else going into it. So some of the money will be used to upgrade that facility, put some chairs, some TVs, things of that nature in it. And their golf program, the rest of the money will be going to their golf program, a golf program that won the SWAC by about 30 strokes last year, Mike.
And he also talked about baseball, too.
Yeah.
The baseball program getting a needed lift there from that money. And again, $100,000 doesn't sound like a whole lot in the grand scheme of running an athletic department, but every dollar counts when you're talking about HBCU programs and what that money means. So shout out to Sissy Logs Cabin. We know that we are partners with them. They've definitely had some signage in FedEx Forum in our building over the last few seasons as well, and they have locations here in Memphis as well. So for them to be able to do that is fantastic. And when you see money impacting HBCUs, particularly those in this region, it means the world.
All right, AD Robinson, I think we got you back.
Yeah.
Everything good?
Okay. Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. Oh, much better. All right, go ahead. What you were saying with the plans for the $110,000?
Yes, basically 100,000 will go towards the. We just got new lockers in our football locker room last year, and now we want to add some more bells and whistles, put some eye candy in there. And we've partnered with Bill and Sherry Jones, and they've donated $100,000 for that. And then they're continuing to support our golf program. They gave another $10,000 to them to help them with that program. Again, we were SWAC champions, as you mentioned, won by 30 strokes. And it's been a good thing. This year has been good, and a lot of it comes from some of the things that's taken place at Jackson. Earlier this year, we got a $3 million donation. We're in the process of building our first ever. We've been in existence for 150 years. Never had a track on our campus. We're about to build a track and soccer complex now, and that comes from that $3 million donation and some other partners as well that's coming in to help support what we're trying to do here.
Coach, you've also had an infusion of energy in the football program as well too. So there's a newness around UAPB, and we certainly feel the energy all the way here in Memphis in anticipation of the Southern Heritage Classic in this matchup. What can being involved in a matchup like this in a regional place like Memphis do for that program and expose it even more to recruits, to alumni, to donors, and potential business partners as well?
Yes, and a shout out to Fred Jones and what he's been able to do with this classic over the years. And of course, Jackson and Tennessee State has been a mainstay there. We're just thankful to be a part of it. Memphis has been a hotbed for us recruiting. We had a little drop off, but now we're able to get back in there and showcase our brand even more. The alum in the area extremely excited. We have some very sharp alum from the area. Matter of fact, one of my teammates who I happen to play with and then come back and coach, who went on to play professional ball, play with Peyton Manning, Donovan McNabb. He's a quarterback himself, and he's coming back to town. So everybody's excited about it. There's a buzz about it. I'm getting texts every day about coming back to Memphis and representing the university.
AD Robinson, would you guys like to be one of the teams in the Classic every single year? Does that interest you guys?
No, we wouldn't like it. We would love that. Again, this is the one of the largest HBCU classics in the world, and in terms of football. And there's no doubt we would love to do that. That's why we have an initiative called the 901 Takeover. We're going to come paint Memphis black and gold, baby. That's our goal. We want to come in there and show that we're here, we support this, and I know it's about head count and ticket sales. And that's what we're pushing.
We've talked about this a couple of times on this show. When I go home, I pass 3 or 4 Pine Bluff billboards, man. And it's like, oh, they're coming there. You guys, when you say you're trying to recruit this area, it's not just a football type thing. You're trying to get students from Memphis as well.
Yes, and that's a big thing too. So I mentioned right now, you can go anywhere in the country. We get students, but one area we're very intentional about is Memphis, Tennessee. And students that come from Memphis, we have a partnership with them through legislation that they're considered in-state students when they come to Pine Bluff, University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff. So we're definitely intentional about everything we do. We want to be a part of Memphis. We've had some great students come from that area, and we're extremely excited about getting back in there.
And lastly for me, Coach, before we let you go, when you look at the game itself, I mean, obviously all the pageantry that goes into it, we talked about the economic factor, the recruiting factor, and just the alumni connecting and reconnecting. But on the field, you're going to be facing a Tennessee State team that's also hungry to reestablish itself in the Southern Heritage Classic. In what ways is your team most competitive? What are you looking forward to most from your team as it tries to venture out on this stage and in this game? Obviously, everyone wants to win, but in what ways can UAPB win this game? After playing a tough Tulsa game coming up right now this weekend, both of you guys are coming back down a level. What's the important thing going into this game?
Well, one thing about you mentioned earlier about the new energy that's been infused in the city by the hiring of Coach Alonzo Champion Hampton is what we coined it. And we're excited about his excitement. He started out here as a volunteer coach, and he's gone on to coach at Central Florida, Oregon, South Florida, Florida State. He's a coordinator there. The Arkansas Razorbacks, Louisiana Monroe. But his dream was to get back to University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff. His family's from this area, and he's brought a lot of energy back. And so we're extremely excited about this because our last game last year was going down to Alabama State and playing in the Turkey Day Classic. We were able to win that game. Last time we played Tennessee State at Tennessee State, I think it was in 2019, we won that game at Tennessee State. So our goal is to keep this going. Get our kids on this stage. When I played here at University of Arkansas Pine Bluff, we travel St. Louis, playing classics in Shreveport, and basically fill the stadiums where we went. I want our kids to have that same feeling. So when they go back and they're coming back to campus, they can share their memories as well.
A.D. Robinson.
We're excited to be on this stage. Yep.
A.D. Robinson, before we let you go, you brought up your time at Pine Bluff. Correct me if I'm wrong. You're a national champion, right? You led them to a national championship?
Yes, we went to the championship when I was there. Yes, sir.
Oh, nice. What were some of the highlights that you can recall from that national championship season?
The crowd. And we won it back. But no, we had some good times. We played against Hugh Douglas, some of those guys, and coming in, Central State being the number one HBCU in the country at that time, we were able to bring them down and beat them. And part of the reason we had the championship series here in Pine Bluff because of the amount of people that came out to the game. Had some exciting times against Grambling, Prairie View. We had an amazing comeback against the team of Western Montana that was on the ESPN. We let the kids score in order to get the ball back, and it went into double overtime. And that's something that a lot of teams use today as a strategy to come back when they're behind late in the game with little time left.
Oh, absolutely wonderful. A.D. Robinson, thank you so much for taking time out and joining us. We look forward to seeing you next week at the Southern Heritage Classic. Good luck this week.
All right. Thank you, and thank you for the time. Go
Thank
Lions.
you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That was A.D. Chris Robinson from University of Arkansas Pine Bluff. You talked some, Mike, about the donation, and $100,000 seems small, but like at a place like Pine Bluff and at a lot of these HBCUs, that money goes way further than $1 million, $2 million at a prominent FBS program because there are so many things that they need to do. Something I did not know. I didn't know Pine Bluff didn't have a track on campus. That just seems like something that everybody sort of has. And then that $3 million donation that they got a couple of months previously will help build that up. I love to see HBCUs win. I do enjoy seeing them get upgraded to match the schools, not just on their level at the HBCU level or FCS level, but in their states and in the levels above them as well.
Oh, no question, man. And Pine Bluff is such a prideful place, man. It's such a prideful town. And that's what they have. They have University of Arkansas Pine Bluff. I mean, that means everything to them around that community. I'm looking forward to getting down there and feeling that excitement and that energy around the program as it continues to grow. They've been accommodating to us. They want the media spotlight. They welcome it. They plan on coming up to Memphis and doing big things too. So, kudos to Arkansas Pine Bluff. We gave you some Arkansas Pine Bluff. We gave you some Tennessee State. I mean, that's what HBCU Huddle is all about, connecting the people who are making the stories and then continuing to feed into this HBCU huddle culture, man, and it means a lot. So good to see both of these programs and these schools getting money and real donations to help their programs.
Absolutely, absolutely. We gave you Tennessee State, gave you Arkansas Pine Bluff. Now let's give you some of our picks in this week's Pick Six. The Pick Six during college football season will be games. Mike and I are going to go head-to-head and pick some of the each week we'll pick some of the 6 most intriguing games at the HBCU level, and when it's all said and done, we'll see who did a better job making their picks. Let's throw them up there right now and see who picked whom. We've got Grambling State versus Hampton to start. Yeah. Mike, who do you like in that matchup?
I mean, I got to go Grambling. There's no reason for that, man. I mean, it's like that's my team. That's my alma mater. That's where I went. That's where I went to play, and that's where all of the action and the energy is going to go. It's going to be a big time. They're playing at Red Bull Arena, Red Bull Stadium, up on the East Coast. So this is going to be an interesting and intriguing game to do this in a soccer stadium the way they're doing it, but Grambling over Hampton.
What about Memphis and Bethune-Cookman?
See, now when we mentioned this game, we were talking about lines and spreads, right?
I couldn't find
the
spreads yet. There's no – the spreads are out for the – lose my headphones. Spreads are out for the big games.
Okay.
But they're even no FBS FCS spread is up yet. When I looked on Wednesday, none of that, and even some of the lower tier FBS schools
aren't up there.
They don't have the spread yet.
So we're just going to assume Memphis is going to win the game, right?
Right.
So let's just say I would even pick Memphis plus 50.
Plus 50, Mike.
I would go Memphis plus 50 in this game. And that's no disrespect to Bethune-Cookman. It's just they're outmatched.
That's a lot of points.
Memphis plus 50. That's what I'm going for that one. Memphis plus 50.
Tennessee State, Notre Dame.
Ooh, that's another one right there, man. I mean, I got to go Notre Dame plus 49.
49?
In that one. I mean, Notre Dame just beat Navy by 40. It was 42-3. They just beat them by 40, basically. So Tennessee State is a class down. But I love Eddie George's energy. I'm still going Notre Dame. I just want these two, Bethune-Cookman and Tennessee State, to get back as healthy as possible.
That's the most important thing. And
they're already winners because they're both getting checks.
And the check. Yeah. Make sure that you get the check before you get on the bus to come back home. Jackson State versus FAMU.
Ooh, that's the big game right there. Orange Blossom Classic. This is the last one. They're not going to bring these two teams back. These two teams want to do something different in a different location.
Before you answer, do you like that this is the last one? Do you like moving that matchup back later in the season?
I get it. I get moving it back later in the season, and I also understand moving it out of Miami and getting it back towards a campus feel. Both of these programs are putting a lot of money in their home gates and a lot of money in their home facilities. I think this probably needs to get back to being a home and home. I have FAMU over Jackson State.
Mm-hmm.
I have FAMU over Jackson State because this is Willie Simmons' year. I was impressed by Jackson State, though.
Yeah.
I'm skittish on this pick now, but for this, I'm going to go FAMU over Jackson State. FAMU finally gets their breakthrough.
You're pausing there because you don't want to upset Kelvin Gates. You want to keep getting invites to the cookout.
That is true, man. That is true. We should have did this pick six after. You're like we should have did it at the last minute. Kelvin, I'm still coming through, man. I'm still coming through the tailgate, brother.
Bowie State, Delaware State, Mike, who you got?
That's a big one right there. I got to go Delaware State over Bowie State just because Delaware State is the higher team. Bowie State is still a Division II team in that situation. Delaware State played and had a promising season last year. I think they build on that, but this is a great regional sort of rivalry. Delaware State comes out.
And the last pick on this week's Pick Six, North Carolina Central versus Winston-Salem State.
NC Central begins their quest for a repeat HBCU national championship with a win over Winston-Salem State. I think they're going to do it. They're going to do it rather easily. And, again, I can't wait to see how far they can push this thing because that is the team to beat in the MEAC. North Carolina Central is the team to beat in HBCU football.
All right, now it's time for mine. Yep, I'm going to go with Grambling over Hampton as well. I think that defense for Grambling has the talent to be special.
Yes, sir.
And I look forward to seeing that defense play out. In lieu of a spread, I will take Memphis over Bethune-Cookman. I'm with you. It's going to be not bad because it's an FCS school playing up. It's going to be tough for Bethune-Cookman. If it was spread was like 38-39, I still might be tempted to take Memphis. I will take Notre Dame over Tennessee State. Again, I was trying to find the spread, couldn't find one, but another one where it is they beat, like you said, Navy by 40. Notre Dame did. Tennessee State, the FCS, Navy is FBS, so there'll be some differences there. I think it helps Tennessee State that they're not going to try and run the triple option constantly. So I don't know if it'll quite be like the Notre Dame Navy game. Also, I think Freeman doesn't want to score as many points as he can on Tennessee State. I think there'll be some sort of mercy given out there. That one I might, as long as the spread is under 35, I would take Notre Dame. Anything over 35, I would roll with Tennessee State. I initially went with FAMU in the Orange Blossom. I switched it. I hope I switched it. I did. Jackson State over FAMU. Give me the JSU Tigers there. 70 new players, so what? I saw a statement from Buddy Pugh before the game that said, my national championship team, the team that won the title for best HBCU in the land, we beat Jackson State that year. We dominated them. That team couldn't beat this version of Jackson State. I'm like, wait a second. What are you talking about, buddy? That doesn't make sense. That's the national championship team. We don't even know what Jackson State is. Yeah. And then to go out there and see the way the game played out.
He knew what he was
Jackson
talking
State
about.
was much more dominant than South Carolina State, and it showed not just in the score, but down by down. It showed that Jackson State was the much more talented team. I also thought it was Willie Simmons' year, but there's something going on at Jackson State, and it looks fun. Yeah. It looks like it's just going to continue to keep rolling. So give me Jackson State. I will take Bowie State over Delaware State. Our director is from Delaware. She graduated from Delaware State. She decided to hang out without me with some of the co-workers downstairs and then tell me, so out of spite, I'm taking Bowie State. And then last but not least, it's time for North Carolina Central's run through the MEAC. It starts against Winston-Salem. Not a MEAC school, but this is where their season starts. I think they go out there and handle Winston-Salem State, excuse me. So give me North Carolina Central over Winston-Salem State. Mike, is there a game outside of the Pick Six that you might be intrigued by?
I mean, I think we got a great Pick Six there to start off with. You know, I always wonder, you know, how some of these teams regionally are going to fare getting into the season and getting out there and getting started. I really want to see, you know, and it's hard week one because a lot of these teams are playing, you know, guaranteed type games. But more so than anything, I just want to see both Tennessee State and UAPB come out of their games healthy so we can get a really good Southern Heritage Classic. Beyond that, man, look, I'm looking forward to outside, and see, this is the thing, outside of our Pick Six, the most intriguing game to me, and this is not even HBCU, but I'm going to go Florida State, LSU. I really want to see that game. I really want to see what Florida State and those guys can do. LSU is really, really hype. But both of those teams are going to be playing HBCUs as well. LSU is going to be playing Grambling this year. So that's one of those reasons why I'm kind of looking at LSU to see, you know, what they really have and what Grambling is going to be up against. So I'm going to be scouting more so than anything else for down the line from there. What about you?
Red Tails Classic, Tuskegee, Fort Valley State.
That's a good one.
Tuskegee's alma mater.
Yep.
Third, I do believe this is the third annual Red Tails Classic. Remember, they started it a few years back. ESPN did, and it's done well from a viewership standpoint and from an attendance standpoint. I just look forward to watching them Golden Tigers go out there. And I don't know if you heard, Mike, we got a punter on the all-SEAC team, baby.
Got a punter, man.
We got a punter.
The punt game is strong, man.
It's so strong.
That punt game is going to be strong this year. Yep.
Yes, sir.
You can't wait for 4th and long.
Man, get them out there. Trot them out. Let's go. Thank you guys so much for listening today. We had fun with you. Thank you to Eddie George. Thank you to Raymond Woodie Jr. And thank you to AD Chris Robinson as well for joining us on the show. Enjoy the football this weekend, this long Labor Day weekend, and come back next week. We'll have the
even bigger show next week. Even bigger show next week.
Because it's Southern Heritage Classic, man.
Yes.
So, for Mike, I'm CJ. Take care of yourselves. We'll talk to you real soon.